Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting and good communication and family relationships. And I talk a lot about strictness. And in this video, I'm answering your question, why are my parents so strict? In this video, we're going to understand strictness and what that really means. Also, we're going to talk about one of my true stories as being part of the world's strictest parents, which is kind of crazy. And then also, let's see if we can differentiate between whether they're being really strict or whether they're being just ornery. When a person is strict, that means that they govern themselves by principle. They live by principle. I found this out years ago when I was asked to be on a BBC documentary, reality TV show called The World's Strictest Parents. I wasn't sure how I felt about being called strict. People had been asking me to teach parenting for years and years because I did treatment foster care for a lot of years for troubled teens that came to my home. When people asked me to be on this program and they wanted to call it The World's Strictest Parents, I thought, I'm not strict. I don't yell at my children or anything like that. But you know what was funny? The BBC said, well, would you let your children go hang out at the pub? Would you let your children get tattoos or do drugs? And I said, no. And they said, well, then you're strict. And I thought to myself, well, that's a pretty low bar. I think almost any parent would be considered strict then, right? Because who wants their child to start doing things that would have lasting negative consequences on their life, like drugs and party lifestyle and all that kind of stuff? Most parents would absolutely not want that. So anyway, they brought these two troubled teens to my home. They were both ages 17. They dropped out of school. They were having a hard time getting along with their parents and stuff. And they came to my home to stay for 8 days in this episode of The World's Strictest Parents. If you want to see The World's Strictest Parents episode, then definitely click on the link to the video now for that. After I agreed to be on the program The World's Strictest Parents, I was a little bit concerned about that word being attached to me. But a friend of mine who was in her 70s, wise woman, she said to me, Nicholeen, why are you worried about being called strict? You're one of the strictest parents I know. And I thought, oh no, I am? What is that? I'm not ornery or anything like that. And she said, Nicholeen, do you even understand what the word strict means? A strict parent doesn't need to yell. And I thought to myself, maybe that strict parent is giving threats behind the scenes and making it so that her child would never think of disappointing her. But I'm like, I'm not that parent. I'm not doing those things. I just talk openly with my children. And she said, I'm not even going to tell you any more about this. You just go look the word strict up. So that's what I did. I looked up the word strict in Webster's 1828 dictionary, and it said that a strict person was a person who governed themselves by a certain set of principles, meaning that their actions or behavior actually matched their principles. It was the same. Most people, their principles and their practice don't match, but a strict person, it does. In fact, when I read that, I went, oh, I am a strict parent. I might be one of the world's strictest parents because I am very strong-willed. And when I find a truth, I hold on tight to it. And I make all of my actions align with that truth or that principle that I'm holding on to. So then I realized, I guess I was the world's strictest parent and I had to be okay with it. The problem is that most people think that strict means ornery, and those are two different things. Let's talk about strict and orneriness, but before we do, leave me a comment. Why are you asking this question? What type of strict behavior have you seen? What are you wondering if it's strict or not strict? I'd be happy to answer those questions for you in the comments below. Orneriness is just emotional manipulation, so you do need to remember that. When a person is just getting angry at another person, that's an emotional response to a bad thought that's happening inside their head. And when I say bad, I mean a thought that gets them feeding their emotions. A thought that's something like, that person doesn't care, that person's ungrateful, that person, something like that. They're trying to assume things about somebody else, and that gets them angry or ornery. As soon as they entertain that bad thought and choose to use one of those negative emotions, then what they do is they they start manipulating their children in order to get some sort of result that they want out of their children. Emotional manipulation is bad for your relationship and it's bad for your communication. So it's definitely not the go-to that you should be working toward. And many parents just don't know what they don't know. Those parents are ornery, they're being manipulative, they're not being strict. Because a strict parent would say, wait a minute, my child needs to learn something. What's a principle or a skill of good communication for how to correct my child that I can use right now? What are the words that I've planned to say that my child will be prepared to listen to so that I can instruct them properly? Okay, now I will follow through with my plan. That is what a strict parent does. This means the parent would never just lash out at you, get mad, touch you, because those things are out of control behaviors. They're selfish behaviors. They're not strict behaviors. It's not my goal to turn you against your parents, because if you're asking this question, you're probably wondering anyway how you can improve relationships with your parents. And I hope you'll keep trying to do that. There are some skills that you can learn that can make a big difference in improving relationships with your parents. One of those skills is a skill called disagreeing appropriately. When a person disagrees appropriately, they look at another person calmly, keeping a calm face, voice, and body. And then they say that they understand the other person's point of view. They share their point of view, they listen to what the other person has to say, and then they say okay and drop the subject. Even if the answer is no, they say okay. We have to honor our parents enough to do that. When your parents emotionally manipulate you, and then you choose not to be calm and you start engaging in a power struggle, you're actually emotionally manipulating them. So it doesn't help you. When you choose to be strict, meaning that your principles and practice match too, you end up becoming the perfect example for your parents. Did you know that? You have the opportunity to teach them just by developing emotional maturity yourself. You actually could sometimes be more mature if you know something that they don't know. But you still have to honor them. You still have to make sure that they are a person that you feel a duty to love and to revere. They have to honor you too, which means that you need to understand who each other is. If you're worried about connecting to your parents because maybe they have seemed a little overly strict to you, then probably you want to try to have some more gratitude for them. Because actually, gratitude is the seed of love. So when a person loves another person, they express gratitude because they feel that the other person has value for them. But also when you're having a hard time loving someone because maybe their behavior isn't what you want yet, then maybe what you can do is you can express gratitude to start nurturing some of that love that you want to feel for your parents. We've got to care about them. They don't know what they don't know, you know? Just because they're the parents doesn't mean that they know everything. You always can refer them to this awesome channel that teaches self-government to people. Yeah, my channel, the Teaching Self-Government channel, because there's so many things on here that would hopefully make it so that they could be truly strict and not just ornery, if that's what's going on. If you have enjoyed this video, I know you are going to love my next video, which is, what does it mean to honor your parents? Click on the link to that video now. I'll see you there.